Okay, so right behind us we got the drill, and now we're going to be telling you about the history of ROTC. The history of Reserve Officers Training Corps, ROTC, begins with earlier 19th century military training at civil instruction like Norwich University was expanded by Morrill Act of 1862 and established in its modern federally controlled form by National Defense Act 1916. This act passed in response to growing concerns about national preparedness for World War I. Okay, I gotta find where I left off at. World War I created a system to train a large corps of reserve officers in service in times of national peril. The program's effectiveness was proven during World War II, and subsequent legislation like the ROTC Revolutionary Act of 1964 provided scholarships to encourage enrollment, with the program involving to include women and establish dedicated leadership and training programs. By the late 20th century, early origins pre-1916, 1819, Captain Eldon Partridge founded the American University, which was the first institution to offer military training as part of a civilization college curriculum. The Civil War, donating federal land and funds to state-supported colleges.
So what is your name?
John Wilson.
What's your cadet corps name?
Master Sergeant John Wilson.
Right.
That's not a cadet corps thing, that's a military thing.
Oh yeah, but we still call you it. Alright, first question. When did you know that you wanted to join the Air Force?
Actually after graduation. I was working, planning on going to school in the fall. I wasn't entirely sure if that was the right path for me, but it seems like that's just what everybody did back then anyway. And I got a call from a recruiter. Didn't lie to me, but he said very specific things that was very appealing and attractive to me. So that was probably July or August after graduation, and I left for basic training in December of that year.
December. So it seems like everyone wants to join Air Force right now.
Air Force is a good branch, I'm not gonna lie. You would expect me to say that, but...
And then when did you know you wanted to teach ROTC at McLean High School?
Toward the latter part of my career, I was an instructor with the Air Force, and in some of my mobile training team adventures, we came across a couple of high schools where they had ROTCs, junior ROTCs there, and they asked us to come in and kind of interact with them and teach them a little bit. And that's when I first became interested. When I retired, I actually looked around this area to see if there were any ROTCs, and the only one in the vicinity was at Paint Valley, but they didn't have any vacancies. So I kind of put it out of my mind for a little while, and then when I got home and got back to Greenfield, somebody told me that a vacancy had come up. The aerospace science instructor at Paint Valley had left, and it created a vacancy. So I called the number at 11 o'clock that night after a football game and told them that I was going to fill that position for them. And I got a call on Monday, and I went in for an interview. Got hired 2 days later. So yeah, it's fate, maybe, I don't know, but I'm glad it did because that's why I'm here.
Is it immediate hiring?
Yeah.
And then what's your favorite part about teaching ROTC?
I mean, there are a lot of parts that I really enjoy, but I think the one that interests me the most and the one that I find fascinating is we have a collection of kids that probably would not have interacted with each other otherwise throughout throughout high school, probably didn't interact with each other much up until high school. And then to watch them interact with each other and come together and form teams that are very, very effective teams and very cohesive teams and teams that benefit them. I enjoy that a great deal.
Yeah, that's a fun part of it. There's a lot of people that I would have been friends with if it wasn't
And you
for
just
ROTC.
started.
Yes.
So think about it, 3.5 years down the road, if you're with the same group of people, you guys are going to be pretty close. With all the community service that we do and all the hours that we spend outside of the classroom, you almost can't help it. I mean, because you just interact so often. You think about a football team, they have a football season. We don't have a season.
Yeah.
We go all year into the summer. So people tend to get pretty close because of that.
Yeah, especially during community service, I was able to talk to a lot of strangers too.
Right. And like I said, you just started. So think about that down the road. It's going to be a lot more.
That's fun.